Hello, my name is Barb. I am Lead in Eurasia, and this is your Daily Dose. Today we are talking flamingos in our little mini snowstorm that's happening here. So you're not going to see the flamingos outside today, but you probably have come to the zoo and seen them outside in snowy areas. These are Chilean flamingos. Flamingos are actually surprisingly cold hardy, and we will actually send them out in the yard if it's above zero. So it's not going to happen today. So we're going to show you a bit of how we manage our flamingos in an environment that's cold for a big chunk of the year. You're going to see all of our flamingos inside the building, and the building doesn't seem to be very large. We have 15 boys and 6 girls at the moment. Flamingos like to hang out in flocks, and if you've ever seen them out in the wild, they hang out by the thousands in these huge flocks. They feel most comfortable in large flocks. They're funny birds because they tend to get a bit snappy with their buddies if they get into their own personal space, but if they're at all concerned, they like having birds in their personal space. So you'll see a lot of interacting and nattering and chattering with these birds. Because they feel good and comfortable in large groups, and we have 21 birds at the moment, what we do, or typically happens, is that you put them in exhibits inside with mirrors. And so they feel comfortable in this large group of flamingos. And what's really cool is one mirror will actually reflect the next mirror, and it looks like you have a huge flock of flamingos, and then they feel very comfortable. And so this is actually a sinking pellet, and it has lots of beta carotenes in it, which is actually what provides the color naturally in flamingos. So they're food items that they eat out in the wild. Little crustaceans provide that pink color for them. So we have to provide that pigmentation, well, not the pigmentation, but that beta carotene in there so that they can keep up their pink color. And it's also a krill day. This is one of their favorite days. So they will get all of these little tiny crustaceans, and they will filter that out of their food later on. You can see that. They will love that today. And we will give this a quick soak. And what we will also do is put in half of their krill now so that they can eat this during the day. Break that up. And these pellets will actually, over the next little while, plump up to probably 3 or 4 times their normal size. All right, because it's snowing madly today, we are going to have to do the winter routine. And our winter routine here involves us having to move the animals out of the way so that we can clean around them. And if we leave food dishes in place, we have the potential that they'll trip over top of them. So we will actually remove any food dishes and any stumbling blocks before we shift them across the pool. Now we want to get all of our gear together, because once these guys shift, they shift. They tend to shift as a flock, so they'll move across the pool together, and then we will actually take our equipment and close the curtain behind us and lock ourselves away from the birds. So the birds will actually be roaming around the building, that they have access to the pool on the other side of the building, and we will clean. All right, so now we're going to prepare their diet so that when we let them out, the first thing that they'll be able to do is go and eat. So we have a double bucket system, because these guys naturally will spend their whole day in water to feed. We want to sink the pots into containers or into the water. But as you all know, if you put a pail in the water, it just floats away. So what we actually have is we have these lovely 5-gallon pots with a brick in the bottom. And that keeps it weighted down so that we can actually set it into a pond So we want to give them as many feeding opportunities as we can. So as they spread out throughout the building, they will have a chance to go to a pot without having to jostle their buddies to get a bite to eat. And today we had that lovely stuff that we soaked earlier with the krill, and you can see it's actually thickened up a lot. So now this stuff is quite soft. As we add water to it, it will actually sink to the bottom of the bucket, and they will put their heads in there and sift all that stuff out. And remember that we put some krill in there too, so you can see all those little tiny krill in there, and they're gonna eat some of that today. And we're gonna put some in every bucket. What we're going to do now is we're going to set these guys out in the pool, and we're going to set them in the first step of the pool, which allows these animals to either stand on the shore or walk around in the pool to feed. So we will just let that fill, finish up a couple of things in the back, and by the time I'm ready to go, I can open the curtain and these guys can just walk out and eat. Hope you enjoyed our Flamingo Daily Dose, and thank you for supporting wildlife conservation.